All right, let's go ahead and get a message today. I got something else. Okay. Let's talk about Oreos or or Oreos. Many years ago, when I first was in cosmetology school, I think it was like my first little semester of cosmetology school, there was a color specialist from Matrix who came. Funny, Matrix. Write that down. Never put that together. All right, she came. She was a specialist. Here, we're getting the message now. All right, and she did a little experiment, if you will, with the class, kind of getting us all, comfortable with each other before she taught us the lesson. And it was called the Oreo personality test. You can look it up. It's still on Google. It's really interesting. But anyway, I'll never forget this. She asked everyone, to go around, and she was kind of reading everything out loud, and we would mark down the way that we eat an Oreo. She started at the front of the room, and then everybody went around and said what they chose, like how they eat an Oreo. And then when it got to me, I was like the second to last person or one of them. My answer was, I only eat the cookie because that's how I like it. I don't like the icing. It's too much. I just prefer to eat the cookie. I love the cookie. Well, the answer for if you only eat the cookie was something like you like pain. I mean, it was very simple. All the other ones had like either a couple sentences or a paragraph. I mean, they were more in depth. They explained people's personalities more. But the one that explained mine, all it said was like 3 words: you like pain. Yeah. And I'll never forget that. I thought that was crazy. Well, then the other day, I see a video, and it was very enlightening, and it was describing what the little symbol on the Oreo. You should look it up. Some of you may already know about it. Just Google the symbol, more like a sigil. Google the symbol on the Oreo cookie itself. There's like a little imprint, a little stamp on it. Okay? And then you should Google what that means. And in my last video, I was talking about why it's just not good to hex people and put spells on people. I mean, it's just not. And you can make excuses all day, blah, blah, blah. It's in my bloodline. And I'm saying this. I'm saying don't do it. I've done it, and I know the repercussions. I just know, we're not going to get into that again, but I started thinking, anytime you put something out, you get it back. And you have all these people all around the world, and I speak from experience. This is no judgment. This is coming from, I did it myself. I'm talking casting spells, putting spells out there, teaching other people how to do it, how to manipulate the energy, but not for the best of people and not for the best of oneself. I mean, you have some people that are teaching that, like rituals for self-love and, goddess baths and things like that, which is amazing. But then you have other people who are teaching not so great stuff and who are practicing not so great stuff because they want control, they want power, and what they don't realize is it is immediately returning because what we're eating is all full of spell work. It truly is. Everything means something here on this earth. And the Oreo, just as an example, it's not just the Oreo. Look at the food we're eating now. So it's like what you put out, you get back. So I just thought that was interesting. That was something that really hit me. And I'm like, wow, look at that. It's like the collateral, you know what I mean? But they don't even realize it's happening to them. I didn't realize it was happening to me. I'm like putting out all this energy, taking all the power in my hands and thinking I had the right to manipulate other people's energy. And no. And it's funny that as I say that, you hear a plate crash in the background. Check out the Oreo personality test. It's interesting. I think it's worth checking out. It may not resonate with any of you, but I just found it interesting. I mean, it's not necessarily wrong. There was a time I think I did like pain. In fact, I think it would be ignorant to say that wasn't everyone. I think everyone likes pain, even if they don't want to admit it. Why do we get in relationships? You have to like pain. And don't tell me, even if you have a great one, that you don't have issues. That's literally pain, okay? Everything we do, having babies, we know that's gonna hurt. We do it anyway. We like pain. Even if we're like, no, I don't like pain. We might not like all forms of pain, But we're all masochists in some way. We really are. The fact that we even chose to come here, that says it all. You know what I mean? The fact that we were like, yeah, I think I want to go there and deal with that. I think I want to go there to die. I think I want to go there to have evil surrounding me and in me. And I think I want to go there and learn the most awful lessons ever. I think, yeah, fuck it, why not? Like, yeah, living on the edge. We're crazy. I question all of our mentality. Even the ones who are picking people's brains, even the ones sitting in doctor's offices, even them, they have confusion too. And they're also masochists in their own way. Look what they do for a profession all day, right? We are gluttons for pain. But then when we get it, we don't know what to do with it. And then I think you get to a certain point where you start to be a little bit more aware of it, right? Like you get where you're like, all right, I'm gonna be a lot smarter if I can help it, and I'm gonna try to, like, you know what I mean? Once you know something is like, you try to stop doing it, or you do stop doing it, and then you're like, okay, I don't want pain that way. You start realizing some things. News break: Beyonce refuses to pay $2.7 million tax bill to the IRS despite $500 million Renaissance tour. Okay, so I clicked on it because there's a reason that came through during this message, and it says basically, allegedly, Beyonce has filed a petition seeking to challenge the assessment and seek rectification for an alleged error. You know what I'm hearing? I don't know what part that played, by the way. I have no clue. Maybe we'll figure it out. Maybe it'll circle back around. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It means something later. I don't know. Maybe it means nothing right now to me and I'm not getting it, but maybe you're getting it on the other side of the camera. You may be like, oh, I get where that goes. But I'm also hearing super random. Not so random because I'm looking at the word Oreo I wrote down, but I'm hearing Oreo, oh. Yeah, I know they're not saying Oreo, but you know, on The Wizard of Oz, when they're around the tower with the witch, they're like, Oreo, oh. Which is funny because if you think about the symbol and you do the research on the symbol on the Oreo, not to mention all the other things they're casting in our food and the different things and all, it's a lot. It's a whole lot. It's in everything. Anyways, yeah, I see people like, you know, it's like a chant or a ritual like, Oreo, oh. This could be something to do with the military again. I pick up on the military a lot. Arrow. What is arrow? E-R-O. Spirit said write Oreo backwards, so I wrote it backwards and I'm getting arrow. If you leave out the O. Arrow meaning. Arrow is arrow definition. Something about the IRS. That is crazy. Look how that tied together with Beyonce. Because I typed in E-R-O, left off the O, backwards Oreo. Who is considered an ERO? The Electronic Return Originator. ERO is the authorized IRS e-file provider who originates the electronic submission of a return to the IRS. That's interesting. It's not a Scrabble word, if we need to know that. Something to do with the IRS is ERO, and that's really weird because as we were on this video, it literally said news break, Beyonce. That's crazy. And like what she was doing with the IRS. So I don't know what this message may have something to do with the IRS, but I feel like this could be like worldwide because she just went on a world tour called the Renaissance Tour, or she's on it now or something. So I'm thinking it has to do with the world and the IRS and some sort of ritual and Oreo. Oh! And witchcraft because they were around a witch in the Wizard of Oz. I'm piecing it all together here. I'm hearing, oh, what a world, what a world, what a world. You know when the witch is melting? She says, oh, what a world, what a world. It has to do with the world. Got the world, gluttons for pain, error, Oreo, matrix, specialist. color, something to do with color, because it was a color specialist who came years ago, remember, and did that test with us, the Oreo personality test. I'm hearing very clearly something could hit the south. I heard it just like that. I don't know what that means, but something could hit the south. It could be a wave of something that hits the south. A wave of sickness, an actual wave, or something actually comes and hits the south. Whatever that means. Could just mean you got gas or something. Something hits the south and you gotta go. We got that yesterday. Something hits the south and you gotta go right now. Gotta go. It's like packing our bags and getting out of here. I'm hearing to safety. What is this? Okay, I'm just channeling right now. I don't know what any of this is gonna mean. Oreo. Alright, let's go back to this Wizard of Oz thing here, because I'm still seeing the visual of it. So let's think about the Wizard of Oz, right? Well, I've tried telling people before that I've watched it. It was one of my favorite movies growing up, like as a kid. Of course, it had music, and I love music, but I never really saw it like this until I watched it, like however many times I've watched it. But a couple of years ago, I was watching The Wizard of Oz, and I realized something. Dorothy is the only character in that movie. No, clearly she's not, but if you see it from a spiritual perspective, from like a bird's eye view, even Auntie M, even her uncles, all that, like even the dog, all of them were aspects of her, even the man behind the curtain. And when you see it like that, you realize some pretty crazy things. If you can see it from that perspective, if you can wrap your head around that, it gives you a whole different view. I almost don't even want to tell you the view I got from it, because I think that you should draw your own conclusion from it. But maybe some of you should watch The Wizard of Oz. Every single character, anything you can perceive in that movie, imagine that it's all just an aspect of her. At the very end, the reason she's able to face the wizard is because she's finally able to face herself. And that could be what's happening around the world. Everyone's really truly facing themselves, and I'm hearing every man for themselves, or it's going to be, because it's to the point now where people are like, are we gonna let this witch keep flying around our tower, our earth, our country, whatever you perceive? Because we can point out here all day and point out all the bad guys, but until we recognize the first bad guy, where the first bad guy originated, even if we're like, no, that doesn't make sense, but I'm like, you have to see it that way, because if you don't, there won't be change. So I think that's what's happening. I think it's like an awakening of the planet, which we already knew was coming. But it's, when you hear awakening, it's like everybody, I think, who hasn't experienced it yet, they think, oh, you're so lucky. And it's like, do you understand how excruciatingly painful an awakening is? And you go through a lot more than one. Does anyone else understand where you had to go, what you had to do and experience and endure to reach the level of integrity that you have now? Do they have any clue? And now I'm getting a visual of, how the witch's feet were under the house when the house dropped on her in the beginning, something like that. The house dropped on the witch, and then she came out and she's like, you dropped a house on me or something. Could be something to do with people's property, people's land, homes. Homes, land, I'm hearing homeland security. Homes, land, the world. Personality test. It could be like running a test, or like, what is that called when they go around and they like want to know how many people are in each house? You guys ever get that? You can get those sent to your house where it's like, we want to know how many people live here. I don't know. This is a crazy message. I'm still going to post it. Sometimes, they just don't make complete sense. Hopefully it meant something for you guys. It could just be for the whole world. I don't know. Oh, what a world, what a world. And didn't she pour water on her and she melted? Something to do with water. You remember how like they were flying in the sky and she wrote something in the sky? Like black smoke. It was written in the sky. A message. like I'm having a whole nother epiphany now about this movie. And then you know how she went into the poppy field and all of the aspects of her, the Tin Man, the Lion, all of them, they fell asleep in the poppies. It's like all of us in the world who've been sleeping while the witches have been flying around. And all the while, we could have just called on our Gary. I'm hearing Gary. We could have just called on our fairy godmother, right? Figure of speech. We could have just called on our fairy godmother to get us out, to pull us through, to wake up. Because we're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz, right? You are the wizard. If you want a different outcome, you have to manifest it. You as in me, as in all of us, because we are all connected. And that just is, imagine how insanely difficult that's going to be to get everyone on the same page. But deep down, you have to think about it. A lot of people actually truly do want deliverance. They just don't realize it because they've been told and they've believed that there is no deliverance. They have false beliefs. But there is deliverance. Ultimately, Dorothy was her deliverance. You know, of course, she had help from Spirit, always. But Dorothy was her deliverance. All she had to do was click whose heels? Her heels. Nobody else had to click their heels. She just had to click her heels to go home. It's always about balance, too. I mean, the way to calm a lot of the aggression and anger in the world is to try and have empathy for it, to understand it, as difficult as that is, because there's a lot of varying degrees of evil. But a lot of us can perceive different types of evil because we've been it ourselves, because it's within. Just like Jordan Peterson says, you should be a monster, and then you should learn to control it. We're all monsters in our own way, even the people who deny it, and you got to watch out for those. Sometimes they're the worst, especially the ones who don't say it out loud, but inwardly they're like, I'm not a monster. There's a lot of people way worse than me. And it's like, if you have to convince yourself of that, you should be careful. We can all be crazy. Given the right situation and the right time, the right circumstance, and the right person we're trying to defend, we can all be a little monstrous. Because of that, those who have elevated and realize you don't have to have an eye for an eye, that doesn't create anything but a circle that continues to repeat itself. But I want off this train, and I think a lot of you do too. We're getting off of it anyway, but you don't want to get off of it and then have to repeat. And no, we came here to help heal the planet, and everything here has its own place. It truly does. So I don't know if we should heal it by trying to get rid of it, or we should heal it by rather understanding it, or trying to understand the earth and why things are allowed to go on that are going on, and why people are allowed to do the things they're allowed to do. Trying to understand that more than to change it, because understanding it will inevitably cause change. And going back to that, actually, I had this epiphany last night. We're taught, even though, I mean, most of us, but not all of us, are loved on and held this way as babies. Some of us know. But for the majority, when a baby comes into this existence, we're held immediately. Somebody holds us first. I mean, we're never not held. Somebody has to pull us out, wrap us in a blanket. Someone first holds us. And we're pretty used to that. We get held for a long period of time. And then we continue, in these physical bodies. The physical bodies begin to transform, change, age, we call it. And we don't realize this, but as we get older, this is why we can't handle a lot of rejection, and why we can't handle things that don't work out and things we don't have control over, and why we get jealous of other people, and why that creates more hate and then causes us to do mean, hateful things, vindictive, is because we really just genuinely want to be held. It's the first thing that we ever felt, was being held, and especially in our mother's wombs, we were held, we were nestled, we were cradled. We come out, we're nestled, and we're cradled, and then all of a sudden we just stop getting held. And you can say, yeah, well, some of us get held, we have partners. It's not really the same thing. It's when we learn to realize that that's okay, and that everything is a temporary hold. Even you have a temporary hold on this body, or this body has a temporary hold on you, on me, on all of us. The body, the vessel, the taxi that we're in. Everything in its place and time. I think this is a message, honestly, for all of us, that's just meant to give us hope in a really difficult planet and realize that you're not alone, and even people that you think do not have a lick of soul left in them, it's like deep down, the majority, not all, but the majority, even people who are really seeking to destroy our planet right now and all of the people within it, or decrease the population significantly, deep down they're afraid too, because they know that their clock is up one day, just as ours is. And they're probably more afraid than the majority of us are, because the majority of us are used to suffering. People who aren't necessarily used to that, they don't know how to handle it. So they react in ways that cause other people to suffer more, because they're terrified of having to feel it themselves. It's possible, I believe, that people in power who have chosen the path of shadow, it's possible, I believe, that some of them can come to the light. They can turn around. I truly do believe that. And sometimes the way that people will turn to the light is when we stop holding them, when we stop picking them up. So I feel like as a people, when we stop supporting what they're doing to all of us, it's not a sign necessarily, I mean, they may take it that way, but it's not necessarily a sign that we are not conforming. It's like when you have a friend or a family member or something in your life who continually does things, and you give them chance after chance after chance, and but then you realize you can't change them, and it's not right for you to even try, but it's causing you so much stress. It's causing them, the whole family. So out of love, you do what? You let them go. It's not necessarily because you're not conforming, or you're not, are, it's not necessarily a bad thing. You could be doing it because you love them. Maybe our leaders, some of them, the ones who have some sort of hope, and we don't know who those are, only the universe does, but the ones who have some sort of hope left that they could change and come to the light and go against the other people who are also trying to harm everyone. If they could see that the people only don't support them, we would love to support you. We would love more than anything to believe, but at this point we have to lean on ourselves, because we can't participate in this anymore. And if that means that it makes you angry, if that means that you want to do more to harm us, if that means that you want to do more to eliminate us off this planet because you get in your feelings and you get in your ego and you don't like that we have a voice, then that shows everything about you and not us. And here's the thing. Once the governments have destroyed all the people, who then will they destroy? See, I don't think they realize that. I don't think they realize that once we're all gone, they're only going to have to turn on each other. What you put out, you get back. So what these people are doing, even if we do leave here, we're leaving here anyway. We're getting off this planet anyway. They're just trying to knock us off of it a little bit earlier, right? Condense us down a little. Keep enough of us so that they have money in their pockets and they can keep going. Egos could start flaring, and there could be a lot of people. There could be a lot of people that leave this planet, and again, I say they'll only have each other to turn on. And so somebody in that group of people, somebody out there in those powerful people, or a few of them, some of them have hearts. Even if you just couldn't even imagine it or fathom it, some of them have hearts, and they deep down and desperately want to get out of what they're in, but they're terrified because they know they can't. They've sold their souls, or they've, you know what I mean? Like they can't hide. Everyone knows who they are. They have all this money and power, but it's not, though. It's actually not power. They're all fucking afraid. They're afraid of water, and we are the water. They're afraid of water. They're afraid that we're gonna click our own heels to get up one out of here. I'm gonna leave it there. I don't think there's anything else. I hope this message made sense and reached who needed it. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here, and I'll talk to you later.